session of design communication and selection of materials. How we can select the materials and how this communication plays a major role while you are selecting a material. Right, so that is the important thing that we need to discuss in this particular session. So we know that how important the communication is. Any living organism in the world, communication is very important. If somebody is very hungry, they should communicate in some forms. Otherwise, they won't get the food. Somebody wants something to do it in the design. Somebody needs some components, and somebody want to explain about their products. Somebody want to explain about their competency. Somebody want to explain about their innovations. Communication plays a major role. In some places, oral communication is much effective. Some places, visual communication is much effective. So we need to decide at which place, which type of communication we can execute. Whether if it is oral communication, if it will be good, then you can go beyond oral communication. Sometimes the oral communication, it will not make others to understand. Some animations, it will make others to understand. Then we have to go behind these animations. Some of the scaling and other patterns, two-dimensional or three-dimensional representations, it will be helpful to understand. Such cases, we have to go behind the two-dimensional and three-dimensional pictures. Nowadays, many software tools and the simulation tools are available. We can pick some of the tools and we can communicate the results to the customers. Any unique thing is there in the design that also can be communicated, right? So that your design process will be successful. That's why in the previous session we discussed about the design communication, especially that is how effective it is, how properly we can address the issues, and how we can communicate any problems there in the design carefully. Therefore, the communication plays a major role. And we discuss about the effectiveness of parallel communication instead of serious communication. Sometimes the serious communications, if you are telling some 10 informations, after some 10th or 20th people, if you are seeing, yes, at least one information correctly, if it is going, is a good thing. Because if it is like a serious communications, some parts of the structures, whatever we are having, it will not go at the end users. So always we used to prefer the parallel communication. And the next thing is about the representation. Sometimes orally, sometimes visual, two-dimensional, three-dimensional, whether it is a drawing or it is simulation, that also we discussed, right? And we discussed about some of the two-dimensional and three-dimensional drawing and how effective these drawings are while we are studying about the design, right? And now today's session we are going to discuss about some more thing about the design, right? Especially the representation or the communication, how it will be helpful, right? I want to show you some important thing about the design. Let us see about the material selection. So how this communication plays a major role. So three different material I am showing. See all these three materials, if I am asking, What is the name of the material here used? A rubber. The first one is also a rubber. Second one, rubber. And the third one, the tire, is also a rubber. But there is a difference. First one, it will be like a razor. And the third one is in the tire. So you can't use the same rubber that we are using for eraser in the tires. The tire is also manufactured or designed through a rubber, and in the middle it is a rubber band. See, all are rubbers, but if you are telling somebody, I need some 10 kg of rubber sheets, give me, which rubber sheet they will give? Whether they will give some 5 kg or 10 kg of rubber which is used for razor, or whether they will give a 10 kg of rubber which will be like rubber bands, whether they will give the hard rubber, especially for tires. Therefore, while selecting the material, proper communications need to be used. If you are simply telling that is a rubber, means, the design aspects, it is very, very difficult to understand. So we have to say about the strength. We have to say about the flexibility. We have to say about the rigidness. That is how effective it will be used for set particular applications. In some places, hard rubbers were used. Some places, flexible rubbers were used. Some places, the rubbers actually used for some scraps. So which one we need to use it for particular applications? Then the manufacturers should give, this is a rubber, it should withstand this many tons. See, the rubbers, whatever you are using in the truck, you can see the wheels also, you can see it was covered by the rubber material. Even though the rubber and the truck is also looking black and it is looking similar thickness, and you can see the rubbers used for the two-wheelers, it won't be same. See, the rubbers used in the two-wheelers, it can withstand up to some 200 or 300 kg. But the same rubber, it was used in the truck, it needs to withstand some thousands of tons. So just imagine, because of appearance also we can't come to the conclusion. We need to know about the physical parameters. Sometimes we should know about the chemical properties. So both the things, I think the lower classes and all, you studied about the physical properties, chemical properties of various materials. That is very, very essential. So the design point of view, they will tell you about it needs to withstand 1,000 tons. Then how much thickness? So the engineers will tell you about depends upon the weight you are going to apply. This how much the strength will be. Right? So the particular scientific formulas are there to analyze the right thickness, right, and to analyze the diameters, because it needs to know about that is how much the diameter is, how much big the circumference, right. So many things are comes into account, but always in a common man, if they are saying, they will say about a rubber. But for designers, it is not simply rubber. The rubber means it should have their own physical parameters. It should have their own chemical parameters. So all these things should be addressed. See, nowadays it's a summer. You can, if you are touching the roads, right? Normally you won't touch the road. You may use good boots or chappals while you are going through the roads. I think you know about its tar, and what will happen means it will absorb most of the sunlight and most of the heat, and you know that it is a black body. So always the black body will try to absorb as much as possible. So just imagine how much heat will be. Sometimes it will be around some 80 degrees, 70 degrees, 80 degrees, like that Celsius. If you are checking, that much heat will be there in the roads, and now the tire will go up. So whether my rubber used in the particular tire, whether it is able to take care about this 80 degree or 70 degrees Celsius, that's in the road. So all those things should be taken care while designing. Just imagine, sometimes these rubbers, right, immediately at the 70 degrees or 80 degrees, it will try to expand. What will happen? What will be the condition of the truck? These bigger vehicles and all. It is not at all easy. That's why, you know, the material selections, the proper communications needs to be used. That means the technical terms behind the rubber should be used. Then only people should know about what exactly the material we need to choose it. Right? There are thousand, even rubber also. There are 1,000 different properties the rubbers exhibits. Right? Anyway, they will be common. Depends upon the strength, depends upon the rigidness, and depends upon how they given the stress and strain while they are developing these rubber sheets. So depends on that, it will vary, right? So that needs to be addressed properly while we are designing this material or while we are selecting this material. Let us see the next important thing. What about the material selection process? It was involved in the design. In the design, as I told you earlier, right, it will take care about some different aspects of the material's properties. You can see that the design, it depends upon service condition, means as I told the rubber, if you are taking, there are different types of rubber. I think that is a fine example you can understand. And what actually the function is, whether it is for the wheels or whether it is used to rub or whether it is used to tie, right? It depends on that. And what will be the costs, right? And if somebody is telling, I can make you very good the rubber tires, right? And it will be very effective in any type of the road conditions, whether it is a 200 degrees Celsius also, no problem. It will take care, but the rate it will be 1 lakh. We were able to buy. So the cost is also plays a major role, the design aspects, right, while we are using this type of rubbers. And the next thing is the material. As I told, the properties plays a very important role. Which type of the material we are using? The material exhibits some properties. What actually the properties telling about the interior things of that particular objects. So that also we need to know about. We can't come to conclude with the outer appearance. So any type of the material, if you're taking the steels or if you're taking any type of the metal, right, you can't come to a conclusion with the outer side. Right, we have to see the interior properties and how it is inside. So that is also very important. And the next thing is the material processing. So even though you collected the right material and if you are using it and you need to tell about the feedback, that is very important. How effectively it is working. You are using the rubbers in the truck. How effectively the truck is running. We are using it in a bike. How effectively it is, effectively the bikes are running. Right? So all those things we have to give the proper insights about the material selection. That is very, very important in the design process. Some more thing about the materials are there that also we will discuss in a wide version, I can say. Right? So how the materials we are using and what are the insights while you are using this type of materials. You know, you are using a very good material in 2021. Do you think this same material will be effective for that application in 2030? No. Why? Because there are many advancements are there. So you have to choose the optimized solution. So as of 2021, this is the available material and this is the optimized effective solution. But in 2030, there will be another different materials. It may give you effective solutions. I will tell you one important thing. Being an electrical engineers. See, nowadays people are go behind these electric vehicles. The important thing is about the motor, the battery, converters, etc. So battery plays a major role while you are taking care about this EVs, that is electric vehicles. So as of now, people are using the lithium-ion batteries, and there are thousands, not I can say thousands. There are some crores of research are going on to replace this lithium-ion. Different types of the battery, whether we are able to use it. The weight will be a constraint. Charging time will be a constraint. How much time it will withstand and how much time you can run that vehicle, that is also a bigger constraint. If you're using that, particular battery, nowadays people are asking about that how much kilometer if I'm using that battery it will go that. So the Tata they're telling about it will go up to 200 kilometers. Hyundai they're telling about it will go about 250 kilometers. Like that, the Tesla they're telling about it will go up to 500 kilometers. So they're using depends upon the battery and type of the converters and the inverters there. You know, the important thing is, as of now, the optimized solution is this one, but it will not end up. So another 10 years, there will be very big innovations, especially in the battery, and these existing batteries needs to be replaced. So some of the innovations they will say about the weight will come down. Some of the innovations they will tell about the size will come down. And some of the innovations they will tell about, it will be there for, it will give nearly 800 kilometers for a four-seater vehicle. Yes, then it's good. So, the materials, that is also not fixed. It will be changing. Depends upon the innovations happens. It will change. It depends upon the modifications from the existing things. And it will change depends upon the customer's views, customer's perspective. So other things regarding this design, the design process, we've seen many things. Right, and here also, in the design communications or in the selection of the material also, right? So the latest communications should be feed properly so that they can retrieve the results, so that they can go for next advancements. Like that, the design plays a major role. So here you can see that there are many types of design tools are there nowadays. So even you are coming to our laboratories like power electronics or control and instrumentation laboratories, you can see the function generators. So it will give some of the inputs. Depends upon the input, you can analyze before going to do the results. You can analyze how effective it will be. Nowadays, many simulation tools are available. If you want to do the proper materials, it may take, or the modification, it will take some crores of amount, Indian rupees, means, the simulations, it will tell you about the modification, if you are doing the modification, how optimal results you will get it. So that is the importance of the simulations. And there are many methodologies are available, right? So methodologies means that is how effectively you are getting the results. That's why in the design process we seen about, there are many types of ideas are there, but which will give the optimized results, that we need to go for. So depends upon the market needs or depends upon the customer's need, the concepts may change and the methodology may change, right? So all those things will be happen. And the next thing is material selection. That's why we seen this particular session. See the name we call it as rubber. So that is not the particular selection. That is not the word we are using for the particular selection. We have to use the concerned properties. That is very important. Right? Once you are able to do it, it will be very successful in the market. Right? That is the design or the material selection process. Some important thing that we used to do while we are selecting. I like to show the selection criteria. The coming slide. Let us see the selection criteria. It is telling about the performance. That's why I told, if you are taking the rubber, we need to know about the property of that particular rubber. Otherwise, we do not know whether we will be using that for using as a razor, or we are using it for rubber band to tie up something, or we are using the tires. So the properties plays a major role, and the characteristics, right? How it will be exhibits to the output side. So that is also important. And the next thing is at which environment you are using. What will be the climatic conditions you are using? Whether you are using this type of equipments at minus 20 degree, 30 degrees Celsius, or you are using it plus 40 degree, 50 degrees Celsius, or in the moderate temperatures, right? So all those things we need to take care while you are selecting the material, right? And the next thing is that is how it will be economic. whether it will be good enough to sustain in the market, or we need to redesign it, right? So these are the major things in the material selections, and the communications, we have to use it while we are selecting the materials, right? So that's all about the material selection and the design communication from my end. And if you're having any questions, you can ask me. Thank you.